versus North Carolina A&T, and you'll see it live coming your way from Puerto Rico. When Patrick Ewing and his Hoyas continue to be the #1 team in the country, and they knock off North Carolina A&T, you'll find out right here on ESPN Friday, December the 28th, starting at 8 Eastern and 5 Pacific time. Well, tonight, Top Rank Boxing is here at the Showboat Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. And one of the most popular fighters that has come out of this particular area, even though he's a transplant from the Boston area, is Freddie Roach. Every time he gets into a fight, it is a brawl, and we're expecting that same thing tonight. Al Bernstein takes a closer look at this man.
Freddie Roach isn't known as a big knockout puncher, but he's shown power in his last 2 fights. Following a knockout of Joe Ruelas, in his last fight, he muscled Richie Foster, blasting him on the inside here in the 3rd round. In the 6th, he sent the bloody Foster down with a solid right hand. And in the 8th, he notched his 13th knockout when the referee stopped the carnage. Tonight, Freddie aims for a 2nd win over Efrain Nieves. But he remembers that the first one was close and controversial.
Yeah, it was controversial ending. It got stopped in the 8th round. I was ahead on points. I was cut pretty good in the fight. But tonight I'd like to clear it all up and decide who's really the better fighter. And I'm in good shape and feel real confident to win tonight. I want to end the year on the right note. So I'm going to go out there and get him tonight and show him who was the winner last time in this time.
Nieves, as a matter of fact, and his entire camp tried to reverse that decision. It went to the people in Portland. They said, nope, Roach was the winner, so Nieves has something to prove here tonight. He is a brawler himself. He's been in with some fine fighters, as Al Bernstein documents in this report.
Efrain Nieves comes into tonight's fight with an 18-5 record and a reputation for fighting tough opponents. We saw him give his all against Terrence Ali, throwing punches throughout, but he just couldn't cope with Ali's strength. Ali landed thunderous shots like these in the 6th round, and Nieves showed the chin that has allowed him to go 23 pro fights without being knocked out. Efrain does better against junior lightweights, but the strong lightweights like Ali give him trouble. Efrain lasted the full 12 in losing, but tonight he hopes to win his rematch with Freddie Roach. He feels he won the first outing, but Roach got the nod. He says things will be different when they meet tonight here on ESPN.
Well, these two guys absolutely don't even like each other. After that last fight up in Portland, they almost had the rematch in the hotel. We've saved it for tonight, and it's coming up next. Top Rank Boxing comes to you away from Vegas. Efrain Nieves goes against Freddie Roach. This is the grudge match set for 10. Let's meet him with our ring announcer, Chuck Hall.
Ladies and gentlemen, the officials assigned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission for the next contest of the night. The judges are Dave Moretti, Hal Miller, and Lou Tabbitt. The referee is Richard Steele. This is the main event of the evening. 10 rounds of boxing in the lightweight division. Introducing in the red corner, fighting out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, weighing in at 132 pounds. His professional record consists of 18 wins, 4 defeats, 1 draw with 12 KOs. Here is Efrain Nieves. And in the blue corner, from Las Vegas, Nevada, weighing 132 pounds. His professional record consists of 36 wins, 6 defeats, 1 draw with 13 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the popular Freddie Roach.
Richard Steele will be the 3rd man, very capable referee in the ring tonight.
Okay, the 3 knockdown rules is in effect. 3 knockdowns in 1 round, the fight is over. The mouthpiece come out of the mouth. During the round, you must fight without it until the next round. Keep all your punches in front of the man. Shake hands, good luck.
Well, there's the instructions. Is Efrain Nieves out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, a native of Puerto Rico. Grew up in New York now fighting out of Grand Rapids. Gets ready to once again go up against, as you heard, a very popular Freddie Roach here in Las Vegas. 24-year-old Roach. You saw that record, a most impressive one. He actually was 27-1 at one time before hurting his right hand. And now fighting, as you see here, in the junior lightweight division. And every time, Al, we see this guy, it's almost one of those fights you can put in as the fight of the year, isn't it?
Just about. He's always in action fights, and tonight I think he's very conscious that he would like to show a lot of power and win very decisively against Nieves. Even at 24, Freddie Roach has been in so many fights where he's been up and down and up, had some good outings, then some bad ones. I think he knows he's got to put together a good string and do so with enough power to show people he can fight as a junior lightweight.
The last fight, again, on April the 11th, ended in a headbutt. It was stopped in the 8th, and a technical win awarded to Freddie Roach. He was ahead on 2 cards, even on the 3rd. And we asked Freddie if he would continue to try to come inside on Nieves, despite the fact that he got a headbutt. And he said, hey, I still feel that's the way I can beat the guy, and I've got to do that again tonight. So no fear about coming in and watching a headbutt.
And they just, as you spoke, they just banged heads again. So, and you always have to think about that with Roach. He cuts so often. Nieves, we saw him against Terrence Ali. He was just a little overmatched against Ali. He didn't have the strength to deal with Ali. And one thing about Nieves, he will punch, as you see him throwing that jab. He will just keep punching. He is an active fighter and not afraid to mix it up.
You see him as the southpaw here. Again, a good right lead jab. You know, Al, you have watched enough of those fights, including that Ali fight, that sometimes Nieves does not look like that good a fighter, but nonetheless he seems to stay in. He brawls with some very good people and has shown very well in his career.
Well, he's gone the distance. He just went the distance with Roger Mayweather, former junior lightweight champion. Went the distance with Ali, went the distance with Juan Arroyo, lost all 3 of those fights. Had that technical loss to Freddie Roach. 1 in 10 over Victor Acosta, who was a fighter that we saw give Stevie Cruz all kinds of fits down in Texas.
1 minute to go in this first. Scheduled for 10. Warning there for Nieves for a possible hold on Roach. Roach indicated he trained very well for this. Nieves echoed that. He said he had trained well.
Come on, let's go, Jack.
You can see the earmarks of a rough fight on the inside already. There's been a clash of heads, some holdings, some elbows. So this one could turn into something less than pretty.
Seems like the ageist Eddie Futch working in the corner of Freddie Roach tonight. Eddie said he was, what, 73? Doesn't look a day over 51.
That way about 73.
Come on, work inside and get out.
Freddie Roach, Efrain Nieves, our main event tonight from Las Vegas.
Come on, let him go.
A battle through round 1.
Don't hold him, don't hold him.
Break. The scheduled 10-round main event here tonight at the Showboat as we're rocking it away in the desert. Desert, by the way, is dried out a bit today after a lot of rain and some snow definitely in the mountains here, snowing up on Mount Charleston. We're down here at the Showboat at the Sports Pavilion. Freddie Roach in the blue, Efrain Nieves in the black with the gold, orange, and yellow, if you will.
Eddie Futch with a very distinct and I think good piece of advice to Freddie Roach. He said, go with the left hook to the body, double left hook, and then come with that right uppercut.
Oh, nice looking uppercut indeed by Nieves as he slipped the left hand in on Roach.
Now there Freddie tried the strategy, but used the left hook, but it missed, and the right uppercut followed, but that also missed.
Earlier tonight, of course, we saw Ubaldo Sacco against Gene Hatcher in the junior welterweight title match. Sacco with that bionic hand of his. Not bionic for Roach, but nonetheless, he had a hand injury back in '81. He hurt it a couple of straight fights, and he gives a lot of credit to acupressure in getting his hand back in shape. I hope I pronounce this right. Doc Sheik So is the gentleman that gave him the acupressure, and he was punching again with it within 2 weeks after getting the hand broken. So something worked well for him.
Well, for a while there was doubt whether Freddie would be able to fight again, and now he uses the right hand without any trepidation. So apparently that worked out well for him. This is going to be a very difficult fight to referee, and thankfully we have one of the best in the business, Richard Steele, in there working this fight.
How about scoring, Al? I mean, is it going to be difficult to do that?
I think so too, because of all the mauling and brawling and grappling in there.
Let him go, let him go.
Which gives me a built-in excuse in case I'm a little far off tonight. Well, you set me up for that one real well.
I did a pretty good job.
You have the Christmas spirit already. It's just the 20th.
By the way, Uncle Sid said, don't miss Sunday night now. I wanted to bring that up again, okay? Uncle Sid back in Chicago. Watching our bouts tonight as we hope that you're enjoying them here from Las Vegas tonight. Just a brawl. They had anticipated to be a good war here tonight, and before the night is out, these junior lightweights will indeed put on quite a show. Both weighed in at 132.
Now on the inside, Eddie Futz really wants Roach to work in there. He's not, now he's starting to work. He wants him to throw both hands and really work. Nieves is doing a lot of holding.
So Roach, once he gets inside, needs to be as busy as he can. Of course, if indeed Nieves is holding him, well, in that case, it was Roach doing a little holding on the glove of Nieves, not letting him throw punches. As they end a wild flurry here at the end of round 2.
First sprint and you improved stick deodorant.
I feel I was a great champ. I did everything that I thought was right. I would always do a favor for somebody. If it was within my power, I would go 10 miles out of my way, you know. If being a champion is like how I live, then that's the way all champions should be. That would be a champion with a lot of love in my heart and understanding.
Freddie Roach working on the inside, took a right hand by Nieves. Freddie was trying to go to the body at that point, and that's when Nieves hit him with the right hook.
Round 3 scheduled for 10. Main event tonight, junior lightweights, Freddie Roach, Efrain Nieves. Richard Steele getting a good workout here. And we made mention it was going to be a tough night to referee. Richard Steele there. Tough night to score, but let's put you on the line, Al, about first rounds 1 and 2.
I've got this fight dead even. In the first round to Nieves, the second round to Roach, so I've got it 19 and 19.
Nieves, excuse me.
I'm sorry, I was going to remind people that the scoring here done by a 10-point must system, and with the 3 judges at ringside doing the scoring.
Referee does not figure in the scoring here in Nevada, as he does in several of the stops along the way of Top Rank Boxing. By the way, Freddie Roach in one of the historic fights with Tommy Cordova, one of the candidate fights for our fight of the year. What will be the fight of the year? Well, we'll find out as we've got our ringside review of 84 coming up right after Christmas Day. Al Bernstein and yours truly will look at the fight of the year, the fighter, the round of the year, and in general just have some fun with the show. Hope you'll make your plans to join us. Consult your local listings.
This fight very slow to get off the mark, obviously. And, you know, you look at fighters and you say styles make fights. And they had a pretty good fight up in Portland, apparently, from all accounts. But here today, they're both very slow in getting off the mark. A lot of holding. I think more even by Nieves than Roach, although Freddie's doing his share as well on the inside.
Freddie indicated at the weigh-in today he felt that he had won the first 5 rounds. And then Nieves came back strong in the next 3. Certainly was finally stopped in the 8th because of the headbutt and the cut for Roach.
Well, they are both banging heads on the inside. You know, Freddie Roach, I think, has, oh, good right hand by Nieves. I think Freddie Roach has a home for that straight right hand. When he throws it quickly, a lead right, he can land it against Nieves.
Nieves with a record of 18-4-1 has 12 knockouts. 36-6-1 for Roach, 13 knockouts. So Nieves would be the more apt to get the knockout here as Roach just tries to pound you down. He'll brawl for 10 rounds and be very happy and satisfied to do that.
Although many of Nieves' knockouts were early against not real top opponents, he hasn't knocked out the likes of Freddie Roach in a long time.
Nor do we expect him to do it here tonight unless he should catch him with just one big punch. Well, just as in rounds 1 and 2, both the boxers still brawling, mauling on the inside, waiting to throw one big punch. It may be still to come.
To wish all you ESPN viewers a heavyweight holiday season filled with love, peace, and happiness.
Tomorrow, only 2 remain in our legendary Billiard Stars tournament. U.J. Puckett and Cowboy Jimmy Moore shoot for the title tomorrow.
There's Freddie Roach going to the body. There's a left hand that lands a little bit behind Efrain Nieves, but Roach committed to some body work, and he's a fairly good body puncher.
Round number 4 is underway, scheduled for 10. Junior lightweights, again, as I pointed out, both at 132 at the weigh-in today. Both of them trying to fight out of the clinch, as you hear referee Richard Steele hollering for him to let him go.
They told Eddie Futch told Roach to use his jab and his straight right hand, and then when he got inside, to unload both hands to the body. But he's not really doing that.
By the way, we made mention of Tommy Cordova. Mel Greb indicates that he's coming back against Stevie Cruz, and he'll be here on Top Rank Boxing on January the 24th when we return to the boat.
That should be an excellent fight.
What a brawl that'll be. Plus, in addition, 2 more of our tournament fights coming up on the 24th of January here in Las Vegas.
And apparently the Lonnie Smith-Mark Lassane fight has been rescheduled for February. That is the fight that you thought you might be seeing here tonight, but Lonnie Smith with an injured thumb had to pull out of that fight, and so we will get to see Smith. You've seen him before, and Mark Lassane, a very, very fine junior welterweight from Lake Charles, Louisiana, who also will be in our tournament later in the year, we might point out.
There's that looping right hand. Roach trying to get in.
Freddie wants to work in here, but he's seen too close to Nieves, and so he's doing a lot of holding on. You know, the jab of Roach, they want him to just use the jab and the straight right hand. He's not. I don't know why. That's what Eddie Futch keeps telling him. Good left hook by Roach.
You see what the fans came here to see. They were quickly checking their schedule here at the boat. They were seeing if this was the wrestling match or the boxing. It is the boxing, and both of them are just trying to find some room, even though they both like to grapple on the inside.
You know, Efrain Nieves' timing is just a little off tonight, and Eddie Futch even said to Roach in the corner, he's not fighting as well as he did when he fought you in Portland, and I would imagine that's true. Nieves just a little bit off in his timing, but Roach really not taking advantage of it as much as he probably ought to be. I think Freddie's just a little off in his timing as well.
Nieves coming on strong, got a good left hook in there on Roach. Richard Steele trying to prompt the action here, hollering to punch to get out.
Watch your hands, guys, okay? Watch your hands, let's have a good clean fight. Shake hands, and let's go.
Richard Steele making sure that the 2 fighters know that he does have control of the fight. Both fighters would like to have their own control. They have fought pretty evenly through the first 4 rounds here on our main event from Las Vegas.
You see in that last round, Nieves with a good straight left hand. One of the few shots he really landed effectively in that last round.
Well, this is round number 5 as we'll be halfway through the scheduled 10-rounder through this one. Nieves, again the native of Puerto Rico. Raised in New York, fighting out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Roach might have slipped a slightly low blow in there. He had acknowledged one earlier in the fight. Now we fought through 4. You've still got it very, very tight.
Got Freddie Roach by 1 point, and I would think that the judges would have something approximating that because he's got to be close. Very hard to tell who's winning these rounds.
Now, how do you score a fight like that? Is it the number of punches? Is it a better defensive fighter?
Well, my feeling is that you score a fight on the number of punches landed, how effective they appear, whether they're blocked. I mean, they could grapple all night, and in my opinion, if you can pick out 8 good punches for Freddie Roach and 4 good punches for Efrain Nieves, then Freddie Roach wins that round. The problem is it's hard to pick them out when they're grappling like that. They're both holding. They're really both equally guilty of this, I think. You can really make that case. So weird, you know, you see Freddie Roach against Louis Burke, against Cordova, and his fights are wonderful, wildly exciting. You see him in here against a man like this, and it's less than exciting, that's for sure. It's boring is what it is.
You know, you would almost say that fighting a guy like Tommy Cordova, and the fact that they both have similar styles, that maybe you'd see this same time, but for some reason or other, when these two to get together, this is what we see almost every time we see them here. Nonetheless, Cordova, who likes to, he'll go in tight, but he likes to bounce out and get some punches.
Yeah. Well, there isn't as much holding when they're on the inside. Sure. They're punching away, as you said, but in this case, there's just a lot of holding and grappling. Part of it is, I think, that neither fighter's employing their plan very much. Eddie Futch is giving, good exchange there. Eddie Futch is giving Roach a lot of good advice. He's not following it.
Roach hit a pretty good right hand off the side of the face that time of Nieves. Nieves comes back with a pretty good right-left combination of his own. Nieves' corner urging him. Once he gets that combination, it keeps coming. But that's about all he's been able to do is throw one clean combination, and then there is the hole. It appears there might be just a slight cut now opening up just outside the left eye of Freddie Roach. And, of course, cuts have been an emphasis of Roach throughout his career.
And that's in what appears to be a bad spot over his left eye.
We'll watch that as we come down to the end of round number 5, halfway through this scheduled 10-rounder as they clash heads again. Both missing punches, and there's the bell to end the round as they both retreat to the corners. As Freddie Roach will be greeted by Eddie Futch, who'll stand in front of him with his instructions. And again, there is a slight cut over that left eye.
What you did there when you stood in the center of the ring and bobbed and weaved and punched back with both hands, that's what I want you to do. You're holding that left hand. Yeah. Keep that left hand free to punch. Understand? Yeah.
Eddie Futch with his instructions to Freddie Roach. Good look at Freddie there.
This was in the middle of that round. They both got on the inside and were wailing away. Not too many punches landed. Roach did land a left hook, and there Nieves got his own right hook in. But you can see this is really very indicative of what this fight has been all about.
And that's pretty much what Eddie Futch wanted him to do, is to stand in the center of that ring and at least be busy. Throw some punches, do something.
Technique has gone out the window in this fight. It really has. Neither fighter doing what they want to do. For instance, Freddie Roach's jab is completely ineffective, and he hasn't even tried to throw it, really, and Eddie Futch keeps urging him to. Then Futch tells him, throw your left hook to the body and that uppercut to the head. Another good idea, and Freddie just isn't able to do it. So.
Nieves, Roach fighting here in round number 6.
You can see by this wide shot, Freddie Roach's left foot is on the inside of Nieves' right foot. When you fight a southpaw, you want to get your left foot on the outside of his right foot. And you see that isn't happening. There, he did it with the left hook, and it worked. When he did it, he was able to land the left hook to the head. So when he doesn't do that is when he's not effective.
Well, you set that up nice, because indeed he landed a beautiful left hook to it.
He must have heard me inside here, I guess.
Wow, they're listening. Hey.
I think he's got an able man in his corner. I think Eddie Futch will tell him everything he needs to hear.
Hey, man working hurt tonight. Injured shoulder. Hey, I'll tell you what, I'll take you on in 3 rounds now. You can't throw the right hand,
That's right. I don't have any right tonight.
Roach again has been able to land that left hand simply because of that little technique that Al pointed out. Nieves, however, has come back and has thrown some good punches of his own here in round number 6. Main event scheduled for 10 tonight. Richard Steele doing everything he... Oh, good right hand by Roach. He's going to point out Richard Steele doing everything he can to keep this fight going. Nieves with a pretty good combination as Roach came wading in.
You know, Roach, there's a left hook. Roach is just winging the right hand, and it's working. And that's what one of the things Eddie Futch told him to do. He said the straight right will get there. It's not so straight, but it is getting there against Nieves.
Come on, work inside now. Work inside. Great. That body.
Freddie Roach has not gotten off first much at all in this fight. Neither has Nieves, really, but they've both been waiting and waiting and waiting, and I don't know what they're waiting for.
Well, if they're waiting for the end of round 6 at 30 minutes away from coming, 30 seconds, excuse me, away from coming.
See, here's where both fighters should be working, especially Roach, because he is on the inside. That's a style that he works to his advantage.
Nieves has been able to come back with some good punches here in round number 6. He makes it a better fight with Freddie Roach. We'll have round 7 in a moment.
I hate to wait.
He hates to wait. Well, you have to wait.
Roach has wanted to land, and that one did get in. In fact, several landed in the last round, and see if he can follow up as we head into round 7.
Round 7 indeed is underway as Efrain Nieves, however, countered with some pretty good shots near the end of the round. You know, his corner like that work and wants him to do more if he can. He's leading well with that right hand, trying to set up the left. We have now fought through the 6 rounds, and Al, how about your scoring now?
A very slight edge to Freddie Roach, and there is not much to choose from here because neither fighter has fought that well.
So they seem to be alternating rounds here with Freddie Roach's slight advantage on our cards. 3 judges at ringside scoring this fight. Last time they fought, it stopped in the 8th on a headbutt by Nieves, a cut by Roach, and a technical win after they went to the cards. Roach winning 2 of the 3.
There's where Roach pushed him back and then banged away with both hands. That's the style we've seen from him against the likes of Cordova and others, and it's pretty effective. The fans here trying to get him revved up at the beginning of this round, chanting his name, Freddie Roach's name, and of course he is a favorite here. Now, we should point out, he's a favorite of the fans. He has not always been a favorite of the judges. Most of the close decisions that Freddie Roach has had here in Las Vegas, to be perfectly frank, have gone against him. I'm not suggesting a bias, I'm just stating a fact. Most of those close decisions he has lost.
You know, Al, I asked him that very thing. If he gets into so many fights like that,
Okay, Bob.
I wanted to let Richard Steele's comment. He said, just stop holding, let's fight. I made comment that he had fought so many close fights. He had lost some, he had won some, but he'd gotten 2 straight knockouts nice and was starting to get maybe a little bit back in the groove, and maybe people taking more notice. Do you buy that? If he gets more knockouts, if he's a more flashy fighter?
Well, if he could knock out Efrain Nieves, who doesn't get knocked out, and wasn't knocked out by Terrence Ali, who's a pretty good puncher, and Roger Mayweather, then he would, but he hasn't done too much so far to hurt Nieves.
No, I would not see that tonight at all.
So far, we don't see any evidence of it. But then this isn't the Freddie Roach we've seen in some fights. He's not putting his punches together. And whatever can be said about Freddie Roach, and he has his detractors, good left hook by Roach, he can punch in combination and do so effectively. Good right by Nieves.
Nieves has come back and countered reasonably well in the last round, and here again in round number 7. Roach may getting the better combination of the punches, but Nieves again with some good punches. This one extremely close from start to right now is staying that way with 30 seconds to go. Loris Timepiece, our official timekeeper of sporting events on ESPN. Roach seems to have some blood now around the left eye. Roach starts to pick up the tempo, and the crowd loves it as we come to the end of round 7. They're shaking the boat in Vegas.
The Emmy winners.
Freddie Roach was able to land this big right hand, and that's pushed Nieves back, and Freddie pinned him on the ropes and got some good combinations on.
They head into round number 8 of a scheduled 10-round main event, the junior lightweights tonight. Freddie Roach again in the blue, Nieves in the black, where you see the stripes down the sides.
They are both starting to punch more. Now, it's not that much effective punching, but there's some blood. You see the blood trickling down the right cheekbone of Freddie Roach from that right eye.
He has cut on both the left and the right. The right eye, excuse me, the left eye has been covered up very nicely by Eddie Futch, but now the right starts to pump a little blood here.
Well, you know, this is not the kind of, oh, good left hook by Freddie Roach. Let's see if he hurt Nieves with that.
You know, Al, one of the things you said, just exactly what Roach was trying to do. Once he gets in the clinch, pushes off and gets that one quick punch in, and that's what he's done, particularly in the last couple of rounds here.
We saw that first when he fought Delio Palacios down in Gillies about a year and a half ago, or a year or so ago. That was where he started to do that, and it's been effective ever since.
Roach is running into some problem in the fact that his face, particularly around the eyes, is starting to become a bloody mess.
And Nieves using his head a little bit, and Richard Steele with a strong warning. We may be headed toward a similar kind of incident as they had when they first fought.
Technical win by Roach the last time on a headbutt by Nieves. Cuts that forced Roach not to continue. Went to the scorecards due to the headbutt. And Roach won it on what is called a technical win. And he is bleeding severely around both the eyes as he tries to push and shove in with Nieves, who for the most part looks unmarked.
Whatever happens in this fight, whatever happens, this is not the kind of performance that Freddie Roach wanted, and I don't think the kind of performance Nieves wanted. Nieves, a journeyman trying to prove that he can get a big win. He's proven he can go 10 with people, but can he get a win against a good opponent? And Freddie Roach, well, he's just got to continue to prove himself as a junior lightweight. Hasn't quite done that yet.
trying to once again get inside, brawl where he can. Nieves, Roach both holding. Almost came right into your living room or wherever you might be viewing our Top Rank Boxing tonight.
They are wailing away on the inside. Roach with the left hook. And this round a tough one to score, though Nieves, I think, has landed some pretty big shots.
Main event at the Showboat in Las Vegas. Comes to the close of round number 8.
Norelco Rotatract, the shaving.
Efrain Nieves threw this right hook on the inside, one of his better right hooks, and he's landed that punch from time to time throughout this fight.
Round number 9 is underway of a scheduled 10-rounder, the junior lightweights.
You all right?
There's that clash of heads as both have been doing that rather regularly here in the last 2 or 3 rounds.
Don't hold him, Freddie. Don't hold him. All right, break. Step back. Step back. Watch it, Freddie. Watch it.
Nieves with just a little slight puffiness around the left eye, but other than that, he looks unmarked after taking the shots here tonight from Freddie Roach. Roach again with those cuts over both the left and the right eye.
Well, you can't fault Richard Steele for trying to make this a legal and combative fight. And he's done so in such a way as he's not imposing on the fighters, but he's just reminding them at every turn, trying to keep them separated and make this into a better fight. You can see the frustration on Roach's face. He knows this is not a good fight. He knows it's not a good performance for either fighter, but they just seem incapable of making it any better at this point.
Roach and Nieves, just about what had started the fight. They were grappling, then they started to fight during the middle rounds, at which time Roach started to do some damage. Nieves was countering well, but Roach was finally on the offensive. Now they've started to come back into more clinching here, even though Nieves needs some punching room and ran right into a right hand by Roach. Another right and a good left hand by Roach.
Finally, Freddie Roach lands the straight right. He landed some looping rights before. That was the first 2 straight rights he's landed in this fight, and they did some damage.
Just a minute away from the end of round 9. Richard Steele may be pooped after this fight.
Yeah, he's earned his money, that's for sure.
He has done his dead level best to try to keep these 2 fighters a little range so they can punch. Oh, left hand by Nieves. Rocked Roach back for just a second. A view of grimacing pain on Roach's face as he backed up after that shot. Closing seconds of this tonight.
Now, this round is typical of how difficult this fight is to score. At least there were some good punches in this round, but it's tough to know who has the edge.
Closing seconds of the 9th round. Crowd wants Roach to try to put it away. He won't do it in the 9th. As they end the 9th and head for their stills for a 1-minute rest before the 3 minutes of the final round in the 10th. Eddie Futch looking at those cuts. That's the big concern. Dan Goose, of course, his manager.
You've got to go all the way.
10 Goose Boxing out of Van Nuys, California.
You cannot hold it all. You've got to keep punching both hands. Understand?
That's the final round.
You see the right hands that Freddie Roach got in. That one glanced off the head, but you'll see a right hand. There's a good straight right hand by Roach. He comes back with another one. That one kind of off the chest, but Freddie was starting to get the right hand in, and it just wasn't, I don't think, as much as he'd like in that round.
Well, this will be the one that will decide it officially as we head for the 10th and final round. Richard Steele gets into touch gloves. Second time they've met this year. Technical win, stopped on cuts in the 8th in Portland on April the 11th. Now they will fight in the 10th and final round here.
Punches try to get out.
This has been a fun night for us with that WBA Junior Welterweight Championship fight with Gene Hatcher with his decision over Ubaldo Sacco in Fort Worth. Young debut by Michael Nunn. Now, of course, our main event with Freddie Roach and his opponent, Efrain Nieves.
Well, part of it was fun. Not to take anything away from these fighters, because they are trying. It just isn't one of their better performances. You know, I harken back to a fight. I mean, it's forgotten maybe in the annals of our top-ranked boxing show, but sometimes when fighters are really anxious to do well against each other, a little animosity, they fight more poorly. I remember Al Reed against Ken Clay, and Al Clay in Chicago. Two fighters came from the same neighborhood. They didn't like each other. I mean, they hated each other. They got in there and they grappled for 10 rounds. They were so anxious to do well that they just couldn't do anything. And to some degree, that's what's happened here tonight.
Again, Roach indicated after that first fight up in Portland that Nieves came in. Roach made some comment like, well, a tough fight. Nieves wanted to try to have the rematch right there in the hotel, and Roach was going to oblige before they intervened and said, no, let's get it back in the ring and maybe make a little money out of this thing. So they did, and here they are tonight. Eddie Futch, by the way, has done a marvelous job in keeping those cuts for the most part closed on Roach. As one of them opened up very early back in round 3. The second one in round number 7. For the most part, they have been contained. Closing in on a minute to go in the 10th and final round.
And this 10th round is as inconclusive as the 9 previous, really. It's been a mirror of the last 9. So they don't offer us too much, even in closing. There's the right hook by Nieves, and if there's been any weapon that's worked for him, it's been that punch. You know, when Nieves chooses to work on the inside, I think he's gotten the better of the inside fighting against Roach, but it's been so sporadic on his part that it hasn't been enough.
By the way, information here in Las Vegas furnished to us by Jim Hunter, certainly Dave Bradley and his fine staff, and the information office here at the Showboat. Well, Brad has been just beautiful for the information. We want to thank them and wish them a happy holiday. Closing seconds of the 10th and final round. Along with Al Bernstein, we have seen our main event with a couple of junior lightweights. Freddie Roach and Efrain Nieves battle it out for 10 rounds. Keep in mind that it went very close throughout the fight. And Al, how about your final scoring in this round tonight? And how about the fight? How did you score?
I had it dead even. I scored it 96-96. There wasn't much to choose from these two fighters, and so I had it dead even.
Well, let's find out what the judges at ringside officially will announce. And here's the ring announcer, Chuck Hall.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is the decision of the judges. Judge Dave Moretti scores 98-92. Judge Hal Miller scores 96-94. And Judge Lou Tabbitt scores 98-92. For the winner by unanimous decision, Efrain Nieves.
Wow. So Nieves will come up with...
Leonard was trying